Thank you very much. Sir, Mr. Hansel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And is this the first time that you've terminated anybody?
Yes, officially, yes.
Okay. And what training do you have in termination?
I assisted in a few terminations at my prior job.
Okay. And who did you assist there? What rank was that person?
That was a sergeant and a lieutenant and
Sorry,
a
and what was your rank at that point?
police officer.
An officer. Okay. So prior to being and correct me if I'm wrong, but an officer in the city of Milwaukee has no supervisory authority of any kind, right?
I was an instructor at the academy, so I was in charge of my platoon.
Okay. So that's equivalent to a work leader, is that right?
But I don't know what you mean by a work
Could you
leader.
hire and fire any of those people under your supervision?
No, I guess I couldn't.
Okay. Did you write any reports on those people?
Yes, I did.
How about personnel evaluations? Did you do that?
Negative.
Okay. Now, you said the treasurer, I believe, Mr. Jansen, brought this issue to your attention. Is that right?
Yes,
And I'm sorry, I'm not in the room, but is Mr. Jansen in that room there?
was not.
Okay. Does he hold a position on the city? Is he a city employee?
Yes, he does.
Okay. And you also, I understand, ultimately learned of this information from the city clerk. Is that true? Okay. Do you know whether or not the city clerk discovered this information on the city's time or some other time?
I have no idea.
Did you investigate that?
No, I did not.
Why not?
I think it would be relevant. It was just the things was brought to my attention.
Okay.
I don't know if it mattered if it was on city time or not. It was brought to my attention.
Well, can you explain to me why it wouldn't matter if it was on city time or not?
I don't know why that would matter if it was on city time or not. I has no bearing in my investigation.
Okay. So you were just investigating your employees, is that true?
I was trying to investigate whoever possibly posted this.
Oh, okay. Can you identify what possible crimes you were identifying at this time?
There was no criminal. There was rule violations apparently.
Okay. And do you believe this person worked for the city of Amery?
I did not know that at the time.
Okay. Do you know that now?
I do that. I know it now.
You know that the person who posted the Amery County Watch is a member, was employed by the Amery city at that time.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. No, I did not. I did not know that, and I still don't know.
Okay. So you were assuming then, correct me if I'm wrong, that the person who posted that worked for the city, right?
So I'm determined at that moment.
Okay. Now, is there any time that a city employee can make a post on Facebook about the city?
Who can say what they want?
Okay. But not not Miss Eskro. Is that true?
Well, if a city employee disparages the city, that should be investigated.
Okay. And what if they do that on their own time? Is that something they can do?
I don't know if they can do that or not.
Why don't you know that?
I don't know. Don't have an answer for you.
Okay. Did you find that out before you started this investigation?
I did not.
Okay. So do you know what the First Amendment is?
Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that city employees have the First Amendment when they're outside of when they're not working?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How about when they're working?
Everybody has a right to the First Amendment as long as they don't disparage the city.
Okay.
They signed I believe in the employee handbook about things so they don't do things that what is, I believe it was adversely affect or disparage the city, something to that effect. It's in the city handbook.
Okay, and that's 24 hours a day, is that right?
I don't know. I don't know if it says. I can't recall every single page of the city manual.
Well, shouldn't you have figured that out before you started this investigation?
No, because it was brought to my attention because it was outside my lobby. Where I wanted to investigate. And if
Because it was outside your lobby. Okay. Now, is the outside in the lobby, can you just describe that to me? Is that a private area? Is that a public area?
it's a public area.
Okay. And the notice that we're talking about, what kind of notice is that? Is that your private notice?
No, it's just the common council meeting agenda. It's in a public area.
Okay. So that behavior is somehow just describe to me what rule violation there is in a employee taking a picture in a public area of a public document.
It wasn't a rule violation at that moment. I was investigating. I wasn't finished with my investigation.
Sure. But what you had was a post, which you admit, right, is a free and legitimate activity.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, so that you can be criticized, right?
Yes.
You can be criticized on Facebook, right?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Can people file ethics complaints against you?
Anybody can file any kind of complaint they want.
Okay. And has anybody filed an ethics complaint against you?
Against me, no.
Okay. Are you aware of Ms. Eskro filing any ethics complaints?
Yes.
How did you become aware of that?
I was given a copy
Who gave that to you?
on advice of the lawyer. Patty gave me a copy of that. I'm sorry, it wasn't Patty. It was Ben Jansen. I was served with it.
Okay.
Putting into an area that
That's the same Mr. Jansen who gave you this information here about the Facebook post, right?
So, a copy of this ethics complaint. I think it was my third day on the job.
Okay. Was it even filed before you were an employee there?
I believe so.
Okay. Now, you stated in your testimony that Miss Eskro escalated your interrogation of her, right?
Yes.
Okay. How did she escalate? After we've seen the video now, can you describe to me how she escalated, please?
She raised her voice a few times and she interrupted me constantly.
Okay. And you've counted how many times that she supposedly interrupted you, right?
Yes.
How many times is that?
20 times.
And how many times did you watch the video in order to make that determination?
I don't recall how many times I watched it.
Okay, more than 5 times?
Could have been. I don't recall.
Okay. Have you produced this video in response to Miss Eskro's public records complaint?
She has a copy on a zip drive.
When did you provide that to her?
Today.
Okay. Now, you said you chose the interrogation room because it was recorded, right?
Yes.
Okay. Was that recording, was that active at that time?
The video was active, but there was no audio on that, which is why I used my body camera.
Okay. So you intentionally wore and turned on your body camera for this investigation, right?
Yes.
Okay. Was that your decision?
Yes.
Did you consult with anybody before you interrogated Miss Eskro?
No, I did not.
Okay. Now, you testified before we watched the video that Miss Eskro said she was going to call her attorney, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear that in this recording here?
In the second recording, yes.
She says that she's going to call her attorney.
You'll hear from my attorney, something to that effect it was.
Okay. And you also said that she was leaving or left the office. Did I hear that right?
Yes, she shut her light off, put something in her purse, and I asked if she was leaving, and she says she's leaving, and you'll hear from my attorney. And then she walked out.
Well, you said something, didn't you, sir?
Um, are you asking me a question?
Yeah. What did you say to Miss Eskro?
I asked if she was leaving,
And then what else?
and then she said she was leaving.
And you said you're terminated, right?
After she started walking out, yes. After she left her duties,
Okay. Did she leave the room?
was walking that way, yes. There's 2 doors to the building.
Okay. So because it's your testimony that because she was walking in such a way, you assumed that she was leaving, and then therefore you said terminate her. Did I understand that right?
Oh, I came to that conclusion when I asked her, "Are you leaving?" And she says she's leaving. That's how I
Okay.
determined that.
Okay. And that meant to you quitting. Is that right?
If she's leaving and she's abandoning her post and not finishing her job, yes,
Okay. So, but in fact, then you said the words you're terminated, right?
yes. After that,
Okay. So in fact, she says she's leaving, and then you say you're terminated. That's your testimony?
no, she said, I asked if you're leaving, and she says, "I'm leaving. You'll hear from my attorney." As she had her purse in her hand and started walking.
Okay.
And I said she was terminated.
Okay. Now, there was some, excuse me. Are we able to swear this gentleman in? I understand he wasn't sworn in before. Are we able to swear this witness in?
This is a employment panel hearing. I mean, off the record here, I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. Well, do you swear to tell the truth, to answer my questions?
Is what?
Do you swear to tell the truth in answering my questions?
I'm answering your question, sir.
Have you told the truth in answering all of my questions?
Yes, I did.
Okay. At any time, did you threaten to terminate Miss Eskro prior to the interrogation?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you ever threaten to terminate anybody in relation to the ethics complaint?
No, I didn't.
Well, you don't have to answer that. That's outside the scope of tonight's employment appeal.
Who says that?
Ms. Eskro is the only person here on an employment appeal. Therefore, the only thing relevant tonight is anything that has to do with her termination.
I appreciate that information. My question to him was, did you ever threaten to terminate anyone? Is it other than Miss Eskro? Did you threaten to terminate people who weren't Miss Eskro? Is that what the issue is?
I did not threaten to terminate anybody.
Oh, okay. Now, let's just talk about these Facebook posts again, because you've testified several times that they didn't bother you at all, right?
It don't bother me at all.
Okay, and that's what's reflected in your body cam footage. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay, and you don't bring up the issue of your resume at any time?
I did bring up the issue of my resume,
Okay, and why was that important to you at that time?
part of the post.
Okay, is your resume a private document, sir?
I don't know if it is.
Well, I could request it by public records, couldn't I?
I would assume so.
And I could put it up on every poll in town, couldn't I?
It's open for the public, yeah.
Okay. So is that a basis for you to interrogate Miss Eskro?
No,
No. Okay. So again, we've established that there's no actual criminal activity.
There was no criminal activity, no.
No. And there's just an accusation that somebody's disparaging the city.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's why I talked to Ms. Eskro.
And you've never determined whether Miss Eskro, in fact, disparaged the city, right?
I did not, no.
Okay. And you never determined, I guess let's put this another way. Now, you ordered Miss Eskro to answer your questions, didn't you?
Yes,
And you testified earlier that she was under work rule that required her to answer all your questions and to answer them truthfully, right?
yes.
Okay. And did you explain that to her at any time?
I did not. She read the paper and she signed it and didn't have any questions.
Okay. So that information is on that paper?
I believe so, yes.
Great. So you elected to ask Miss Eskro questions under threat of termination about this Facebook post, right?
No, it was not under threat of termination.
Well, if she didn't answer your questions, you could terminate her, right?
That would be a possibility if she didn't answer them.
Okay. And you're saying she knew that because she signed this document, right?
I don't know. She didn't ask any questions. She signed it.
Okay. So based on that, you assume that she was aware of that work rule, right?
I would assume that, yes.
Okay. Because you weren't interrogating her in a criminal context, were you?
No, not at all.
Okay. What if she had got up and walked out of that interrogation?
I can't answer for what didn't happen. I don't know. I have to gather my thoughts and come up with a conclusion.
Would that have been a work rule violation or something else?
You got up and just left the room or just walked out of the building? I don't know. You can assume anything.
Okay. Well, it was a terminatable work rule violation for her to take some steps towards the door, right? That's your testimony?
To actually leave her job duty was why she was terminated, not just taking steps towards the door.
Okay. And you knew that she wasn't going to the bathroom. Is that right?
Yes. Because
how'd you know that?
She shut her light off and she said she was leaving when I asked if she was leaving.
Okay. When did she shut the light off in that recording?
She shut the light off before I asked her if she was leaving. And then she
Okay.
said she was leaving.
Can you answer my question though? When did she shut the light off?
We have to look at the video and see the exact time.
Okay, but you're saying your testimony here today, right now, is in this video. It shows her shutting off the light.
But she shut the light off.
Okay. And so, for example, is there a bathroom in that room, for example?
Not right in that initial office area.
Okay. Should she have left? She was going to the bathroom. Should she have left the light on?
I would assume that she would leave the light on.
Why would you make that assumption?
I've never seen anybody shut the light off until they leave.
Okay. Until they leave for the day. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So on basis, and you've worked for how long at this department?
It's January 30th.
Okay. So 5 months is my count. So it's your testimony here that in approximately 5 months that anybody who's turned off the light without leaving for the day, you fired them for leaving the job?
No.
No. Okay. Is it your testimony that nobody's ever turned off a light before leaving for the day at your department?
All that.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I recall that.
You don't recall that. Okay. But you would have terminated them had they done that. Is that right?
No.
No. Okay. So maybe your interrogation had a little something to do with your decision to terminate her, then, didn't it?
Her walking off when I asked if she was leaving and she left.
But you keep saying walking off, but she didn't even leave the room before you made the decision and said you're terminated, right?
No, that's not what the video shows. I asked, and she said, "I'm leaving. You'll be hearing from my attorney." And then the light was off. I don't know how else to take that if she was gonna use the washroom or anything, but usually when somebody shuts the light off and they answer you, are you leaving? And they say, yes, I'm leaving. You'll be hearing from my attorney. I'd like to say that I believed that she was leaving.
Okay, and so let's just say, for example, that your entire interrogation was a violation of Miss. Do you know what the Garrity rights are? Do you know what those rights are?
I'd have to refresh my memory with
Okay. How about the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination? You aware of that?
oh, yes, I am.
Okay. And so what if you had just violated Miss Eskro's Fifth Amendment rights against interrogation by requiring her to give answers and then using discipline as you're using this video now as a source of discipline for coerced statements? What if that was the case? Would it be appropriate then for Miss Eskro to say you'll be hearing from my attorney?
I don't know what if
Okay.
a lot of things could have happened. I just
So,
know
what if you were violating Miss Eskro's First Amendment rights by asking her questions and interrogating her under threat of work rule discipline about activity that you allege is and are clear is a exercise of the First Amendment? Would it be appropriate for her to tell you that you are gonna hear from her attorney or something else?
I don't know what she would seem as appropriate or not. You'd have to ask her that.
Okay. But were in enough of a position and you have enough knowledge and experience to know that when she says, I'm leaving, I'll call, and this is according to you, of course, because we don't accept that. I'm leaving, I'll call my attorney. That meant to you that she was only calling her attorney about what?
I don't know. You'd have to ask her that. She says, you'll be hearing from my attorney.
Okay.
She says,
But you took that to mean she was quitting, didn't you?
yes.
Okay. So you took that to mean that was related to the interrogation or something else?
What's your question?
Did you believe her statement that you allege that she made that you'll be hearing from my attorney was related to your interrogation of Miss Eskro or something else?
Oh, I believe that she said that because she was leaving.
Okay. And about how long was the duration, because it was fast forwarded, so it was unclear to me, so please help me out, between you said you're terminated and when the interrogation ended?
I believe it was maybe 2-3 minutes. I think the second video was about 3 minutes, so maybe not even that long.
Okay. And you had some papers in your hand during that second video, right?
I went to grab some papers, yes.
Yeah, what were those papers you went to grab?
Well, I had the papers that I used when I talked to him with the posts on it, and then I went to go back inside my office, and then I still had those papers in my hand, and then I went outside to reiterate not to talk about it because it was still an internal investigation. That's when the conversation happened about when I saw that she was leaving. Then after all that took place, I went back to my office to grab the papers.
Okay. Now, I appreciate all that, sir, but can you kindly answer my question? And I'll repeat it for you just to assist you here. What were those papers that you grabbed?
The paper was a right to appeal.
Okay.
And I believe a copy of I was going to get a copy of the charging or the notice of the charges, or for basically the reasons why I was talking to her.
Okay. So is this when you say charges, can you explain to me what that means?
It's just the sheet that she signed, the investigation sheet. I'd have to find it here.
Okay, I think I believe I understand. And you're saying right to appeal. What purpose of that document?
For her termination.
Okay. And because you've conducted 0 terminations in your work experience, can you identify me how you learned of this document?
I don't know how
Did you get it from outer space?
No, I didn't get it from
No.
ours.
Did you get it from your attorney? I see you looking at your attorney. Did you get it from him?
No, I did not.
Okay. Is he going to help you answer here?
So can you repeat the question? Make sure I
My
understand.
question to you right now is your attorney going to help you answer my question?
I don't know. Could you
Okay.
ask your question again, please?
Okay. So keeping that in mind, that answer is I don't know. I'll go back to the question here that I'm asking you is where did you obtain this appeal, termination appeal form?
I believe I made it.
You what? I'm sorry.
Made it. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on. Do we have a copy of this? Yes, I know what to look at. Oh. Took some, I believe I took some pages out of the employee handbook and made this on here and made a form for her to sign.
Oh, okay. When did you make that form?
I don't recall. Probably, maybe that day.
Oh, okay. Was it on the video? Did you make that form?
No.
No. Okay. Was it before you interrogated her?
Yes.
Okay. And then you testified earlier that you didn't have any intention of terminating Miss Eskro before this interrogation, right?
We're not.
How are we supposed to believe that?
I didn't bring it with me in the room. Based on her answers, we're either going to use the form or not use the form.
Oh, so you're just like a Boy Scout, is that right? You're just well prepared for termination?
I believe someone would be upset if they got terminated. They wouldn't need me to create a form or find one for 30 minutes or however long it may take. So I want to be prepared just in case.
Just in case. Okay. Better safe than sorry, is that right?
That's what you think.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
That's what you think. If it's better safe than sorry,
Well, you tell me, you say you crafted this document, right?
yes,
And how'd you do that? On a computer or something else?
on a computer.
You use Word?
Yes,
Okay. And you combined a bunch of documents to create a new document, right?
yes,
Okay. Now you read the policies for appeals at that time?
yes.
When did you read those?
I don't recall if it was before or after.
Before or after you created this document?
Yes,
Okay. And did you talk to anybody before you created this about the document before you created it?
no, I did not.
Okay. And so how did you come to believe that such a document would be necessary? And I don't mean in case of her termination, but just to be prepared for termination. How did you believe that such a document would be necessary for you to be prepared?
I believe I must have glanced over the right to appeal
Oh, and what caused you to glance over that?
in case I would have to terminate anybody.
Okay. Like people who filed ethics complaints against members of the city council?
For anybody.
Okay.
I don't know what you're getting at.
Okay. Now, there's this conversation that you're saying that you had with Miss Eskro that was private about you taking classes, right?
Yes,
Okay. And now everybody knows about you taking classes, right?
yes.
And they would not have, how many people are in the audience there today?
About 24.
24. So you wouldn't have 24 people taking time out of their day to come watch you tell us about how you're not concerned about Facebook posts had you not engaged in this investigation, right?
I don't understand your question.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go on to something else. I heard you say that the Facebook posts were starting to rile up people. Do you recall saying that?
Yes,
Who were those people that the Facebook posts were starting to rile up?
the people who commented on them.
Okay. Who are they?
I don't know. Let me take a look.
Well, how about the clerk? Is she one of those people?
I don't know. You'd have to ask her that.
Well, you are the one. Did I say people are starting to get riled up?
I guess you just said it now. I don't.
But I didn't say that during the interrogation, did I?
I said that during the
You
interrogation.
said that. Okay. So why did you say people are starting to rile up people? If you didn't know what people were starting to get riled up.
Because they were posting, they were making comments on him. And it was just the city.
And when you say disparage the city, you're talking about, is the city mentioned in this Facebook post from March?
If you, city of Amery, yes, it is.
Okay, how is it disparaging the city of Amery, please?
If you pay taxes in the city, it should outrage you. Because apparently I'm not allowed to take classes.
Okay, so, and just let me get it right. The people of the city of Amery are not able to state their opinion on how the taxes should be spent for your training. Is that right?
They can state whatever they want.
Okay, but when they did state it, you started an investigation, didn't you?
I did start an investigation.
Okay, so in fact, they can say whatever they want, but only with you starting an investigation, right?
That's a mischaracterization.
Well, we can now say, can't we, sir, that the comment there about the taxpayers paying money on your training, that person knows that there is an investigation that's happened because it's all over the public. And presumably this person watched the Wednesday, March 15th, 2023 special council meeting. So presumably she's watching this one, wouldn't you say? Or him? Okay. So based on that, and again, I'm sorry, I'm just going to back up 1 second. Is it your testimony here today that on Wednesday, March 15th, 2020, there was no mention of you taking any classes at a special council meeting?
I did say that.
Okay, so, but you did infer, correct me if I'm wrong, during your investigation, that the only way it would have been possible for anybody to have learned about the fact that you were taking classes is if Miss Eskro told them. Is that true?
That's a negative.
Okay, so that would be a faulty assumption, right? You didn't know that there was the only way that this information got out was from Miss Eskro, right?
I don't understand your question. I talked about taking classes at Northwestern University at the committee of the whole meeting.
Okay, and I want to back up here because it's important that we're all on the same page. I understood you to say that there was a private conversation between you and Miss Eskro in which you told Miss Eskro, among other things, the fact that you were taking leadership classes. Did I misunderstand that?
I didn't say leadership classes to her. I said I believe it was leadership classes amongst the at my, I think it was at my staff meeting.
Okay, and is the reason you brought that up during the interrogation that you believed that Miss Eskro had communicated that information that you had during that private conversation to somebody else?
I would believe that. You'd have to ask her that. That's what she believed.
My question to you is, why did you ask that question?
Why did I ask which question?
Just because, correct me if I'm wrong, you asked her multiple questions about a conversation that you and her had, a so-called private conversation in which you told her about these classes, right?
Yes.
Okay. Didn't you ask her where else did this information come from?
I did not.
Okay. So now going with that information in mind, that you accept that you had those questions and those interactions with her, what was the purpose of those interactions during your investigation?
See if she was enabling, or if she was city watcher, or if she was partially responsible or enabling somebody to twist information from our conversation and disparage the city with the comments.
Okay. And the big problem that I'm having with sir, and I really hope you can help me out, is can you explain to me the difference between disparagement and free speech?
Disparaging is when it sheds a negative light on the city, and free speech, I guess, all free speech is free speech. You can say what you want.
Okay. So there's possible that there's sometimes disparagement and free speech overlap, or am I missing something?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you have any evidence that Ms. Eskro, before you initiated this investigation, was doing any of these alleged activities on the clock?
I do not. Well, she took a photo, but that's nothing bad. It just tied her into the reason why I wanted to talk to her.
Okay. And I get that. Now, your police powers, right? You have police powers, right?
Yes.
You also have employment powers, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do your police powers allow you to interrogate city employees about what they do after hours?
If it's a violation of policy, I believe it would. If it disparages the department.
So you can use your police powers to investigate work rule violations. Is that true?
It's my administrative powers.
Okay, so we'll call those your work rule, your work employment powers. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So can you use your employment powers to make a city employee tell you about their activities off the clock?
If it was regarding somebody bringing a complaint to my attention and I have to investigate something, yes.
Okay. And they have to answer you truthfully or they can be terminated?
They would have to answer me truthfully, and depending on what the discipline is, and depending on what the violation is, would determine the discipline.
Okay. So just backing up here, at the meeting that you and Miss Eskro, that you say you had with Miss Eskro, in which you discussed your training, was there anybody else at that meeting?
It's my whole department.
Oh, so you told everybody in the police department this, that you were taking training, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So did you investigate, I guess, let me put that another way. How many other police employees did you investigate, not including Ms. Eskro?
I'm not investigating anybody yet.
Okay, so there's just the existence of a public document and then this information that you told the entire department. Is that right?
I'm sorry, can you,
There's the only two pieces of information that you have tying Miss Eskro to this so-called Facebook post that supposedly disparages the city is the fact that she took a picture of a public document in a public place, and the fact that you told the entire police department that you were taking training, right?
That, again, you're mischaracterizing. He told the entire department he was taking leadership training. He told Ms. Eskro privately he was taking professional training. That was his estimate.
Okay, what's the difference between professional and leadership training, if you know?
all depends on how you look into it. I don't know.
Okay, those words synonyms? They may have the same meaning or something else.
All depends on the profession, I guess. I don't know. You have to ask the person who makes that determination.
That's what I'm asking you. Does those two words have two different meanings to you?
Professionalism, leadership, similar, I would guess.
Okay. And maybe I did misunderstand that, so I appreciate that interruption there. But is it true that there was two different conversations, one with just Miss Eskro, and what you said something along the lines of leadership training, and another one with the whole department, in which you said something along the lines of professionalism training?
Excuse me. I said with Miss Eskro professionalism classes, and then
Okay.
then believe it was leadership with the department.
Okay. So this one says professional. Is that the Facebook post says professional? Is that right?
Professionalism classes,
Okay.
words that I spoke with Miss Eskro.
Now, I understood you said that there was some kind of prior discipline against Miss Escrow for making Facebook posts. You know that?
Yes,
How do you know that?
because I was given that.
What does that mean?
I was given the post.
Who was giving it to you?
I believe it was Deb Tandrum gave me the post.
Who's Doug Tandrum?
She was our human resources person.
Okay, this is a post, is that right?
It was in her file, in Miss Escrow's file.
Okay, and who put it in her file?
I don't know. It was there before I got the job.
Okay, so you're just saying there's a single post, is that right?
I believe so it was.
Okay, and based on that post, you are explaining to us that she had a verbal or some kind of discipline? Is that what that meant to you?
She was given verbal discipline for that, yes.
How do you know that?
As I talked to the person who gave the verbal discipline to
Who was
her,
that person?
was at the time interim chief Jason Hitchcock.
Okay, and it's your testimony that Jason Hitchcock gave her that, told you rather, that he disciplined her for making a Facebook post. Is that true?
Yes,
Okay. Now, the termination letter that has all of these policy violations, do you see that? Are you aware of that document? I guess I should say.
yes,
Okay, did you write that document?
yes.
Do you have any assistance writing that document?
I did not.
Okay. How did you determine which work rule violations to put on that document?
I looked at the city manual and my rules and procedures.
Okay. You feel like you left out any possible work rule violations in there?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Now, just for my clarification, if a citizen feels like there are too many closed sessions and they make a comment about that, is there something illegal about that?
No, there's nothing illegal about that.
Okay, how does the fact that there's a lot of closed, how does that disparage the city? Can you explain that to me?
Sounds like there's they're trying to like hide things.
Okay, were you aware of the city hiding anything?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, but you believe that this says that the city might be hiding things.
Possibility.
Okay, so the possibility of somebody alleging the city hiding something is a grounds to start an investigation. Do I understand that right?
That combined with the other post,
Okay, and just remind me here, how long was it between when no, I'm sorry, Mr. I believe it was the treasurer, and I don't want to mispronounce his name, but it was something like Johnson.
Ben Jansen.
Jansen. Is it like Jansen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, when did he tell you of this post? What day?
On May 4th,
And when did you have the interrogation with Miss Eskro?
I believe it was May 11th.
Okay. So sometime between the 4th and the 5th, did you discuss terminating Miss Eskro with anybody prior to your decision to terminate her?
No, I did not.
Okay. What training have you had in conducting an investigation at a workplace rule violations?
Here's my police investigation from my 25 years of experience.
Okay, but no actual formal training, right?
No formal, specific for employee investigations, I guess you could say that.
Okay. And this is the first investigation that you've conducted on your own, right?
Yes,
Okay. Did you consult any laws prior to conducting this investigation?
Scope any laws? I don't understand your question.
Did you consult any laws, any legal documents, any legal authorities before you started this investigation?
I did not. I don't believe so.
Okay. So, for example, you didn't learn anything about whether or not you can investigate the people for First Amendment activities?
I didn't see anything like that.
Okay. Now, your attorney asked you if you discriminated against Miss Eskro. Did you hear that?
Yes,
And you said you didn't, right?
I did not.
Okay. What do you mean by discriminate?
I depends on what my attorney, how he asked it, I guess. What did you mean by discrimination?
Was there anything, any immutable characteristic about Miss Eskro that makes you not like her? The color of her skin, her gender, her sexuality, anything that was her that she can't change about herself? Did it have anything to do with this termination? Have anything to do with that sort of thing?
No, not at all.
That's what I mean by discrimination.
Okay.
Okay. And how about, great. And another form of discrimination my learned colleague may have left out is retaliation. Did you discriminate against her in a retaliation for her making any complaints?
Not at all.
Okay. Now, the ethics complaint that was filed by Miss Eskro that you're aware of, that caused you to personally lose income, didn't it?
You don't have to answer that. The ethics complaints are sealed documents. If we're going to discuss anything related to the ethics complaints, you need to have a court order to unseal those first. I'm not next to a microphone. I'm not sure you can hear me.
Sure, I did hear you, and thanks for that. I'm not asking what the ethics complaints are in. I'm asking, you told us you're aware that Miss Eskro filed an ethics complaint, and I'm asking you, did you lose any personal income? I'm not asking for the details of the complaint, only did you lose any personal income on the basis of that complaint?
I was told that I did.
You were told that you did.
Mhm.
Okay, who told you that?
My wife.
Okay. So it's fair to say then that based on Miss Eskro filing a complaint, you personally lost income, right?
Can say that.
Okay. Well, you're the one testifying here. So what are you saying, sir?
That's how you want to say. Well, I guess you could say that. Yes.
Well, do you have any reason to believe your wife is lying when she told you that?
No.
No. Okay. So it's also your testimony that you don't have any personal animosity against Miss Eskro, even though you personally lost money as a result of her actions, including filing a complaint, right?
I do not have any animosity at all.
Okay. So do you enjoy losing money, income?
Not money that I like, just more expendable. I guess nobody enjoys it, but I didn't have no bearing in my bills or anything.
Oh, okay. Was it a significant amount of income that you lost or something else?
No, not very significant at all.
Okay. And did you learn of this before or after you terminated Miss Eskro?
What do you mean?
Did you learn that you lost income because of Miss Eskro filing a complaint before or after your decision to terminate Miss Eskro?
I didn't terminate her because I lost income, if that's what you're getting at. No, I learned, yeah, I guess I learned before that. But
Okay.
it has no bearing on why I terminated her.
And you didn't like forget that before the while you were interrogating her, right?
Actually, I did forget it. During my
Okay.
meeting, I put a lot of things. I said, I want everybody to get along and we should be all on the same team. And no matter whatever happened is done in the past, and I want us to work as a team.
Okay. Did you say that in front of anybody?
I said that in front of for my staff meeting.
Okay, Mr. Hickok, for example?
Everybody, yes.
Okay. All right. If what I would appreciate here, and you have been very indulgent with me, but if we can just take a pause here, I would like to communicate with my client. I know we're distant here. I don't think it'll take very long, and then we can hopefully come back and wrap this part up. Okay?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Well, how much time do you need? Oh,
I mean, if you guys have a recess or anything, I don't want to step on your toes, but normally 5 minutes is what I would ask for.
recess then?
Perfect. Thank you very much. Proposal here, I know we've asked some questions of Mr. Hainzel. I would like to just get Mr. Hickok. I've got a few brief questions for him, if that's okay. I think he would be a better witness than to try to go around more time on with Mr. Hainzel.
I'm sorry, could you start over? The room was settling down and I wasn't prepared to hear what you were saying.
I appreciate you saying that. I will be happy to repeat. So my proposal here is, instead of asking Mr. Hainzel more questions, we asked Mr. Hickok just a few brief questions, and in lieu of sort of dancing around the same issue with Mr. Hainzel here.
And I would just object to that in terms of Officer Hickok is not a part of the termination at all, and I don't think would have any testimony related to this. I could see how Mr. Hickok may have something in regards to the prior reprimand for the first initial Facebook post before Chief Enzel was even here. But I don't think that's a disputed question at this point. So I'm not sure what we gain from testimony from Officer Hickok.
I appreciate that. Thanks for narrowing that down. No, we do dispute that. I think we do dispute whether or not Mr. Hickok disciplined her for that. So that's part of it. And I believe
that's not grounds for termination.
There was it's part of the decision to make a termination. So that's why you had testimony about it and got it on the record. So we just want to be clear on that part. The other issue, I think, is
talking over each other and I can't hear either one of you.
This is the confusion here. That was the crux for the investigation, which was not completed. The termination was for insubordination and unexcused absence. Had that investigation completed and led to a termination, I would agree at that point that everything involved in the investigation would be grounds for hearing a determination. But that's not ultimately what was the determinative factor for the termination. It was the insubordination and the unexcused absence after the investigation. So therefore, we're here to defend that the investigation was just and that there was grounds for it. But ultimately, in a question of termination, that becomes irregardless.
So, okay, that doesn't make any sense. And I'll explain to you very clearly why. If it was irregardless, then we shouldn't have had any testimony about it in the first place. But what you're suggesting is that you can bring up this evidence, but we can't ask Mr. Hickok if that's what happened. And that this is hearsay here. And normally, and we don't allow hearsay. I understand very well that this is not a courtroom. But one of the reasons for the rule on hearsay is to get the best evidence from the best witness. I understand Mr. Hickok is there and available and ready to testify. I also understand that Mr. Hainzel told Mr. Hickok that the reason that he fired Miss Eskro is because of a Facebook post. That testimony, if true, would contradict Mr. Hainzel's testimony here, which is why, again, we believe that it's best to get this information straight from the source. Again, I don't have very many questions or very many subjects that I need to get answered by Mr. Hitchcock, and I frankly think we're spending more time arguing about this than it would take to get this evidence on the record, and then you guys can decide about how valuable it is.
I stand by my prior statement that there was plenty of other evidence that led to the investigation. We raised it as evidence that led to the investigation, led to the interrogation, but again, not for grounds of determination.
I'd like to hear from the council whether they want to hear from.
I mean, I see both sides of it. I also feel like in this case, it might just be best to let everyone be able to speak what needs to be spoken. I would rather not silence people because I feel like that's going to cause more issues. But I also understand that it might not be totally pertinent to what we're trying to achieve here.
And I disagree. I don't think that anything that Mr. Hitchcock could bring up would be pertinent to this termination hearing. It's on paper and part of her record what had transpired prior to Steve coming on board. So I don't think there's anything that could be added by his testimony.
As narrow as that is, I think it has nothing to do with this particular discussion at this time.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, so at this time, we will not allow you to call Officer Hitchcock.
Okay, well then I still have more questions. Thank you.